From the Oklahoman newsroom, this is an OSU update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Kyle Fredrickson. Kyle, we officially know now the Cowboys are headed to the Alamo Bowl. That's a December 29th game, 8 p.m. kickoff down in San Antonio. We also know Colorado will be on the opposite sideline against the Cowboys. 10-3, Colorado, a resurgent season, I think you could say. What do we know at this point about the Buffaloes?
Yeah, when we leave the Bedlam game, I think a lot of OSU fans disappointed, no Sugar Bowl return, right? But in all honesty, I think this matchup is as exciting as a matchup against an Auburn team, when you just kind of look at the two programs. CU, like OSU, is a team that played very well, ended its season losing a conference championship. They've got really strong defense. They rank among the top 10 or in the top 2 in like every single defensive statistical category in the Pac-12. So it's a bit of a contrast in styles. The way OSU at times this season's been very high-powered on offense. How will Mason Rudolph respond after that Bedlam game? So just a great matchup, a top 15 matchup in a cool city like San Antonio.
Well, I guess the question will become, how does this OSU offense match up with that Colorado defense? As far as the Pac-12 goes, you obviously have some really high-powered offenses when you look at Washington and what Chris Peterson's done there, Washington State and the Mike Leach air raid. But there are some other teams that maybe aren't as potent in the pass game. Does that maybe lend itself to Oklahoma State to have some advantages there? Yeah,
you'd think that the contrasting of styles in the Pac-12 and the Big 12, the types of offenses that the CU defense has faced, we'll have to kind of look into that this week to see what teams were successful against CU and which teams weren't. I was watching their game against Utah, and they going up against a running back who had 200 yards a game entering the game. They limited him to 97 yards, so that was just one performance, but looking at how they were able to stop the run, and I know their pass defense is ranked tops in the Big 12, or in the Pac-12, with some of those high-tempo spread offenses. I think it says a little bit about where these guys stand, and it should be a tough matchup.
Lastly, this is a rematch of previous Big 10, now I'm adding a third conference in this mix, Big 12 opponents. Colorado obviously leaving the Big 12 a few years back. So these two teams have some Big 8 and then into Big 12 history and some fairly notable games too.
I think that's fun at a time when the Big 12 is sort of being dogged as this lesser conference as soon as it made that split. I think we look back at the decisions of those schools to leave, and it sort of left the Big 12 in a hole. But this has been a fun matchup over the years. The last time they played, 2009, is when Brandon Weeden made his introduction to OSU fans and really the college football world, and becoming probably the most storied quarterback in OSU history, depending on what kind of Mason Rudolph does to finish his career.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if this game has any effect on where Mason Rudolph's narrative goes after the way Colorado affected Brandon Weeden. All right, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.